Biden-Harris campaign knows it's now a full-court press to Election Day. But even as Joe Biden and Kamala Harris stood on that stage wearing masks, supporters at a safe distance, waving flags, President Trump was out traveling.
Now, isn't that funny? President Trump, they got him eating pizza. Fake news, I tell you. They funny as hell. Got this man out and about eating pizza when they know Pizzagate is going out. And you know the story behind that. But I'll continue.
To the key battleground states, often asking, where is Biden?
Where are you, John? He's in his basement. He just doesn't come out. We have a sleepy guy in a basement of a house.
I want to ask you both about the next 70 days.
Yep.
Not much time left. We saw the president just this week during the convention. He traveled to Pennsylvania, he traveled to Wisconsin, Iowa, Arizona, all of that while you were making your case to the American people. I understand the restrictions of COVID and campaigning in this time, but can you win a presidential election from home?
We will. We're going to follow the science, what the scientists tell us. We've been able to travel places when we've been able to do it in a way that we don't cause the congregation of large numbers of people. Look what happens, what's happened with his events. People die. People get together. They don't wear masks. They end up getting COVID. They end up dying.
So when you hear the...
Now, wait a minute. To me, that's kind of like fear-mongering. Because how the fuck you... If you've been in your basement, right? You ain't seen the light of day. Use your brain, people. You've been in your basement. You have not came out. How the hell you know people is dying? That's going specifically to his rallies. I mean, the news ain't reported. Matter of fact, I heard about cases, people having the coronavirus, which the first test that they sent here was contaminated. We can just forget about the flu. That doesn't exist no more. Everything is COVID. No matter if you get shot in your foot, you got diabetes, or you just got the common cold. Everything is COVID-19. Which is weird to me, but whatever. Apparently, people that's showing up to these rallies that is not allowing people to show up. They more so outside, like the protesters and the Antifa folks that's outside, like the people that's outside when you go to your local gas station or your local convenience store or your local grocery store or your job. Same people. I'm not saying people are not dying. The ones that have underlying conditions. Same thing last year when the flu took out a lot of people with underlying conditions. I mean, that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. We can argue about it, but I'm probably not going to argue with it. Just let you have your opinion, and that's it. It's my channel. I can think what I want to think, and that's that. I will continue.
President saying this guy's afraid to leave his basement.
Guess what? I have left my basement, but here, in the meantime, 500 million people have watched what I've done out of my basement. And guess what? People are listening. People are listening. It's about being responsible.
And just before our interview, someone else was in the hot seat on Capitol Hill. The Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy, a Trump donor, being pressed about the slowdowns at the U.S. Postal Service. Senator Harris, I wanted to ask you about the Postmaster General. As you know, he was testifying just today. He said this: the Postal Service will deliver every ballot and process every ballot in time that it receives. That's a promise from the Postmaster General. that the Postal Service will deliver every ballot and process every ballot in time. Do you buy that?
I don't necessarily believe anything that he has said when he says that what he has done has had no effect.
Okay, well, if you don't believe that the post office is going to deliver every ballot on time, what is this whole shit about the post office? It don't make no sense to have mail-in voting. Absentee, yeah. Mail-in, no. People just be standing outside the grocery store, outside a mini mall, outside the regular mall, outside the gas station, getting you to sign your name if you ain't registered. If you was to go get your driver's license or just your license or whatever the hell you going to the DMV for, they're going to ask you, are you registered? Or any government building that you have to attend, they want to know if you're registered. You sign up for that shit mainly at the DMV. So now you got 3 or 4 ballots coming to your home. Yes, that shit is illegal, but people want this man out of office so hard that they willing to sign a dead grandma name on that shit. To sign a cat name on that shit. To sign a dog name on there. To sign their name on that motherfucker twice. To put another name on that bitch. Why not? You don't gotta have no ID. I don't see what's so wrong with asking for a voter ID. If you in the military, you have to have an ID. Hell, if you working, in a lot of cases, you have to have an ID to get in your building. If you're driving, ID. If you're not, you still need an ID. That distinguish who you are. I ain't with the cheating shit. But here we go.
Because I know to be true that small businesses around our country in these last days that he has withdrawn resources from the Postal Service are suffering. I've heard...
Now, real quick. You know the Postal Office, they did get $10 billion. They did get $10 billion. And you do know that the Republicans are here to work and the Democrats are not. I wasn't even a fucking Republican. I still ain't now, but I see what's going on. But I digress.
About seniors who rely on receiving their medication in the mail on time, and in addition to whatever they're suffering physically, they are worried to their bone that their medication may not come in time for them to take it properly.
Do you think the president is deliberately trying to...
So we're gonna hit the singers because we know that that's y'all heartstring. So we're gonna talk about the singers. If we don't talk about singers, we talk about kids. But let's hit the singers. So they don't got no caretakers, no nothing. Can't nobody Medicaid ain't going out paying for the fucking they just don't got nobody to go get their medicine. That's where we at right now. Amazon has started on, you know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. I don't give a damn. We gonna hit it right here. So, that's what they do. They tug on your heart. Now all of a sudden the seniors don't have the proper time with the mail people. Like the mail people can't bring their shit on time. Hey man, I tried to get a job with the post office. They shit they shit was already breaking down. They cars and everything. This was about 7 years ago. The post office been fucked up. My mail been coming in slow. Some days it wasn't even getting delivered. There's plenty of stories out there with postal workers throwing away junk mail. You know, a lot of people like their junk mail, but you had different deliverers throwing away junk mail. Since then has been fired, but that's what the fuck they was doing. And why you want to put all this goddamn work on the postal workers? Like, to deliver all these damn ballots. Y'all don't even pay them enough. Shit, the average truck driver, I think they make at least, what? 45, 50, 60 grand? Y'all ain't even paying a postal worker that much to deliver the fucking mail that drive the 18-wheeler. So now y'all want to hit them with all these millions of fucking ballots? That ain't right. That ain't right within itself. Y'all don't even pay for their fucking uniforms. That shit come out their pocket. Y'all something else, man. Y'all politicians, I swear y'all something else. I probably ain't gonna be able to find it. I hope I can. But I probably ain't gonna be able to find it. It's cool though. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It would cut off, you know. Now that I'm trying to get to the nitty gritty of this shit. It cut off. I might gotta look that shit up. So I have a problem with. What we looking for? Joe Biden. I don't even know what I was watching, but I just know it was an interview. And I don't got nothing against Joe, but I mean, as far as a damn president, you gotta be motherfucking, need to be strong, man. You need to be fucking strong, yo. And this dude be stuttering like a motherfucker, man. You know. It just, and then they sending out all this damn hate, you know. I don't like it. Shit, this might be it right here. Kamala. The other one is about. Y'all seen what happened.
Millions of people are saying yes to Allegra, including the experts. It's the #1 allergist recommended brand for non-drowsy relief. Allegra works 2 times faster than
This shit
Claritin,
even
and
came up.
may cause drowsiness.
It's only 8
Allegra
minutes
won't.
long, so I
Say
said
yes to
I
Allegra.
go ahead and dissect it real quick.
This is the moment Joe Biden waited for more than 30 years.
We go pass by that shit. Hit her back up.
Us, we have the ability to really meet the American people where they are and address their fears and their hopes and their dreams.
We have so much we want to get to here, but I do want to get right to the heaviness of the moment in our country. The pandemic, more than 170,000 American lives lost now. And Mr. Vice President, you have said that people are dying because of this negligence. Do you blame President Trump for lives lost?
I don't blame him for the COVID crisis. I blame him for walking away and not dealing with the solutions. And the idea of saying that this is going to go away, this miracle is going to happen, there's all talk about the crazy things about bleach and using, I mean, it's just, he hasn't listened to the scientists.
But do you think that...
Like, and it's another crazy thing. I mean, I just argued with my cousin about this shit the other day. I watched that shit. That dude, the president, never said, put bleach into your veins. That was the reporter that said that shit. And then, you know, with the mass media, did. They went out and ran with the story. As this man said, put disinfectant in you. He never said that. He was just, it seemed like he was just asking questions to the experts. And can it be like a disinfectant? How disinfectant kills germs and shit. I know this is a virus, this is not a germ, but can it what he was asking was, can this shit kill like a disinfectant? And I think they was talking about HCQ at the time. So you can run with that story too. These motherfuckers, they get lamer and lamer, and you see who they are. Once your eyes is open to the bullshit, you can see who these people are. They ridiculous.
Negligence on the part of this administration has cost lives.
I can tell you what Columbia University Medical School said. It said that he acted just 1 week earlier, he would have saved over 37,000 lives. 2 weeks earlier, over 50,000 people. This is about telling the American people the truth, letting the scientists speak, listening to the science, and stepping out of the way.
You said in your speech last night.
And stepping out of the way. And let me tell y'all, the scientists, we need to do a background check on these motherfuckers. I mean, Dr. Fauci bragged on how he was the first AIDS academicologist, whatever you call them motherfuckers. And shit, in my opinion, he probably helped spread that shit. Matter of fact, I mean, because he got people coming up that he done sent to jail and shit like that. Like, he probably helped spread AIDS. As they have the cure for that shit, but don't want it. The patent has been released. I hope y'all look that shit up. You can't trust these fools. None of them. You had Event 201. It described everything that we going on now. Look it up. Event 201. Then you had the military games over there in Wuhan and the Super Bowl over here in the United States. Ain't no telling when that shit got transmitted over here. And the doctor that came out with the shit, he died abruptly. We ain't know how serious this shit was. The president didn't know how serious this shit was. The team didn't know. He ain't in the this man ain't in the White House. So how he gonna say when something should be done and when it shouldn't? Yeah, he the vice president when he was the vice president, but he ain't in there now. You could be working at McDonald's for 20 years, but if your ass get fired, you don't know what's going on in McDonald's. So you can't say what's going on in there 5 years from that. Because you ain't there. It could be a whole different story. These people, they on that bullshit. And like God say, don't put no trust in man. Because man is at fault in everything. Ain't nobody out here perfect. Remember that.
Then you want to implement a national strategy. And as part of that strategy, you said, we'll have a national mandate to wear masks. You know a lot of governors aren't going to go along with that. And what do you say to Americans who say, this is my freedom, my choice whether to wear a mask? Are you going to force them to wear a mask?
This isn't about freedom. It's about freedom for your neighbors. It's about a patriotic responsibility to protect your neighbors.
It ain't about freedom. It's all about freedom. This shit ain't in the Constitution. Matter of fact, y'all hijacking my constitutional rights. What do you mean, dark eyes? That motherfucker don't got no white around his goddamn eyes. This shit just black. And fucked up. The first time his ass ain't stuttered. Shit, my neighbors ain't even wearing masks. Your ass been in that basement so long, you don't even know what the fuck going on.
And the only way you can do that is to be socially distanced and wearing a mask when you're in public, when you're outside. The first time I've ever heard people say that doing something patriotic that can save other people's lives and impacts on their freedom. Come on, give me a break. It's about saving lives.
You talk about the science.
And here's a motherfucker, hey, they ain't in their own house. They out fucking side. That news reporter, the VP nominee, and the running president nominee, them motherfuckers ain't wearing a mask. So what does that say to you? Come on now.
You're sworn in come January, and we have coronavirus and the flu combining, which many scientists have said is a real possibility. Would you be prepared to shut this country down again?
Of course.
I was prepared to do whatever it takes to save lives, because we cannot get the country moving until we control the virus. That is the fundamental flaw of this administration's thinking to begin with. In order to keep the country running and moving and the economy growing and people employed, you have to fix the virus. You have to deal with the virus.
So if the scientists say shut it down?
I would shut it down. I would listen to the scientists.
And Senator Harris, we have seen the disproportionate toll on communities of color all across this nation during this pandemic. The president talks about the potential of a vaccine almost daily. We have seen what's happened with testing in this country, the lines, waiting days, weeks for results. Even when there is a vaccine, under your administration, who would get that vaccine first?
Well, that's a great point, because let's also be clear that creating a vaccine and finally having a vaccine is a very different point than people actually being vaccinated. And there needs to be a plan. And that's one of the things that Joe and I talk about, which is the plan to ensure that we're going to have all of the equipment in place to actually administer a vaccine to the largest number of people as quickly as possible.
Now wait a minute, y'all. Before they decide to administer that shit to the largest people, I want to see all them motherfuckers lined up first. I want to see all of them lined up. I want to see all the politicians that's talking about this vaccination shit, because it's going so fast. Let me see all y'all motherfuckers line up and take it first. We wait about 2 weeks and see what happened to y'all. Because you see what happened to Putin's daughter. She took that shit and she gone. Russia was the first one out with the vaccine. They decided to let her be the science project. Her ass gone. So before they decide this science project on our motherfucking ass, y'all take that shit first.
In mind that there are disparities, there are different needs based on different communities, and that's why we talk about.
Because at the end of the day, some people, they get COVID and they get rid of COVID. And then there's some people that's dying from it, as far as we know of what they're saying. But if they're correct, there are some people dying from it. A lot of people has died from it. And my condolences to the families. Not trying to be an asshole about it. These politicians, man, they fuck your brain so hard, you don't know what to believe 9 days, man. People talking about these hospitals filled. Shit, I work around a hospital. That bitch empty. I can't find enough work. Because ain't no goddamn work. But I'm going to continue. I'm just saying, we as the people should let them line the fuck up first. Let the military escort their ass in the line and have their ass take it first. Since they so adamant about it, I ain't nobody's science project. Fuck them. And that shit 666, man, get the fuck out of here.
The need to track actually racial disparities based on region and geographic region, and do that now, so that when we have a vaccine, those communities that are most in need will get them.
I've been pleading with the president for the last 3 months. You need a plan. I suggested he say $25 billion now and put together a plan. How will you get to over 300 million Americans? He has no notion how to do that. There's somebody should be in charge now directing precisely how the vaccine will be distributed. How many vials are going to have to be, in fact, manufactured that hold the vaccine? How many shots are going to have to be required? How is he going to do it? It's about how. Plan now.
Be honest with the American people.
They don't even have a fucking answer to that. How the fuck is you pleading with somebody you've been trapped in your goddamn basement trying to run a campaign? That don't even sound legit. Come on, y'all. We gotta ask the right questions. You been pleading with the president? Man, get the fuck out of here. You ain't even talk to that nigga. You ain't even talk to him. They don't even have an answer. Look, what's your answer? You talking about somehow you go do it. If you got a solution and the American people so damn important, give up the answer. But see, it ain't about the people, it's about the politicians. That's why they ass need to take it first.
People, though, if you're elected president, Mr. Vice President, where will we be? You've been meeting with your scientists. What does next winter look like? What does a year from now look like? Are we...
Oh, wait a minute. He meeting with his scientists? Oh, he got different motherfuckers? See, these people ain't for us. They all got somebody. Alright.
Still in the middle of this pandemic.
It depends on what this president leaves me in 5 months. Everybody asks, which is a legitimate question, what are you going to do on January 21st, 2021? It depends on what he's left me with. And right now it looks like...
Sound like the same shit Donald Trump said. Them motherfuckers ain't leave me with shit. I had to rebuild it. They ain't leave me with nothing. I had to spend trillions on the military. Everything was sold to China. I had to threaten these companies to come the fuck back with tariffs to make damn PPE. Sound like the same shit to me. It depends on what he leave me. Y'all left him with shit. Nothing. And look at her. Smiling. You talking for the nigga with your dark eyes. Look. Shit dark as hell. Shit should be called. That's probably the real black lives that matter. Them black ass eyes that don't got no damn white in them.
What's going to happen is that the numbers are going to go up. There's estimates that well over 200,000 people will die. Significantly more people will be infected. It doesn't have to be that way. He can take action now.
We know there's another crisis attached to this pandemic, and that's the economy. 30 million Americans on unemployment right now. We just learned of it.
It's so fucking crazy that they saying, look, I ain't gonna keep stopping it, but this is what I do. It's just so fucking crazy that he's saying he can take action now. Like, what he been doing? Sitting down twiddling his fingers? Like, Donald Trump ain't been doing shit, right? Like, he bringing nations together. He done signed so many executive orders. Motherfuckers too lazy to go read them bitches. All y'all gotta do to go to whitehouse.gov or congress.gov. You see what the man been doing. You don't have to see the damn scientists in front of you every day to know that they working. And they trying their best to come up with something for this shit. I can tell you one thing, the mortality rate has went down opposed to the cases. The cases is going up because a lot more people are testing. But that don't mean that they're dying.
Another million last week filing for unemployment. You lead in the polls, but in the same polls, there's also a vulnerability. Over and over again, President Trump leads on the economy. And you know what he's saying. He said, President Biden, a Biden administration, will raise your taxes. Will you raise taxes?
I will raise taxes for anybody making over $400,000. Let me tell you why I'm going to do it. It's about time they start paying a fair share of the economic responsibility we have. The very wealthy should pay a fair share. Corporations should pay a fair share. The fact is, there are corporations making close to $1 trillion that pay no tax at all. I'm not punning.
Okay. So imagine that shit. He about to raise taxes on himself. He about to raise taxes on Nancy Pelosi. He about to raise all these motherfucking taxes. Why? Where the fucking taxes going? Because they not coming back to the neighborhoods. Where is the money going when y'all raise the fucking taxes? That's the answer we need to know.
Anybody. This is about everybody paying their fair share.
So no new taxes, $400,000
No
a
new
down.
taxes. There would be no need for it.
And is it smart to tax businesses while you're trying to recover?
It's smart to tax businesses and in fact are making excessive amounts of money and paying no taxes.
But where's the cutoff? You talk about small businesses. Will you be raising taxes on small businesses?
No, I won't be.
You're talking about...
Look, you have 90% of the businesses out there are mom and pop businesses that are out there that they can employ less than 50 people. There'll be no raising taxes. Then we have to provide them with the ability to reopen. We have to provide more help for them, not less help.
Well,
How
why
about
haven't
turning
y'all
the
done
blistering attacks we've seen from President Trump just this week alone on your mental fitness, whether you're up for the job? His campaign has called you diminished, and I'm curious how you respond to that.
Watch me, Mr. President, watch me. Look at us both, what we say, what we do, what we control, what we know, what kind of shape we're in. Come on. Look, I think it's a legitimate question to ask anybody over 70 years old whether or not they're fit and whether they're ready. But only thing I can say to the American people, it's a legitimate question to ask anybody. Watch me.
Let's put the attacks aside then. The American people remember Ronald Reagan was 77 when he left office. You would be 78 entering office. And you have said yourself that you are a transition candidate. Does that mean a one-term president? What does that mean?
No, it doesn't mean.
So you're leaving open the possibility you'll serve 8 years. if you're elected.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you both about a moment that people love to make a lot of. I have no interest in going back and looking at all the debates.
So if his ass served 8 years, he's 78. What is that? 84? Oh, shit. He already fucked up right now. Forgetting shit. Needs somebody to help him walk out on stage. I don't make fun of people that stutter, but he has a little problem. I'm talking about as far as when dealing with other countries. Now you have a damn 78 plus 8, that's 86. You have an 86-year-old and that motherfucker running the country. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, right. This shit set up for the whole damn Democrats. Whoever the fuck pulling the strings over there, let's just say that. 86 running the country. Get the fuck out of here.
Instead, though, I'd like to talk about the words on stage when the two of you were rivals. You remember that moment. Senator Harris, you were on stage talking about being a little girl who was being bussed. And you said of the vice president's words about working with segregationist senators that they were hurtful and personal.
And it's personal, and it was actually it was hurtful. You also worked with them to oppose busing. And
see the difference in the
there was
eyes?
a little girl in California who was part of the second class.
These motherfuckers don't even look the same.
And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
I think the American people want to know that these aren't debate moments. These aren't political points. That when you say they were hurtful and personal, you mean that. And so I'm curious what the vice president has said to you since then that made you think, okay, I'm okay with this. I can join this ticket.
What is hurtful to me is that black families own 1/10 of the wealth of white families. What is hurtful to me is that black and Latinos are twice as likely to die from COVID as white families. What is hurtful to me is that when you look at the disparities in everything from healthcare to education to the economic well-being of families in America, there are real racial disparities that are rooted in systemic racism and a failure to address the truths that may be difficult truths. Joe Biden.
So you ain't gonna talk about the 1,500 motherfuckers that you locked up, changed documents on, none of that shit. You ain't gonna talk about the prison shit. You just gonna keep it COVID related. And just remember, y'all, she Indian. She Jamaican. But she Indian too, man. Look at her. She look like a fucking Indian. All she mixing is the damn dot. Don't get caught up in race. That you just believe what these people fucking say. It's just like running for president at a high school. You gonna promise free lunch, more study hall, shit, more off-campus breaks, shit, no class. You gonna promise that shit. Better food in the cafeteria when you running for president at a school. This just on a higher level. Same shit. These people ain't shit, man. And we need to question everything.
Does that.
And everybody.
He is doing that. He is addressing these truths. He speaks these truths.
He ain't
Mr. Vice
said
President,
shit.
your wife, Jill Biden, had called it a punch to the gut that night, what she saw from Senator Harris. But now that months have passed, do you sense an understanding of where Senator Harris was coming from when she said personal and hurtful?
I sense exactly where she's coming from. And I think, look, I think a lot of people, and maybe even the senator at the time, didn't know the depth of my record. I'm also someone who is, we have the 8th largest black population in America, in this state. The reason I'm sitting here with you now is because African Americans vote over 90% for me. I don't take anything for granted. I've worked like hell. And so, look, but we're in the same exact page about what the possibilities are right now. There's enormous possibilities.
Oh,
And
cocky
Senator
bastards.
Harris, now making history, the first black woman, the first Asian American on a presidential ticket for a major party. We
Wait a
asked her
minute.
about the attacks, the words.
Is this bitch black, Indian, Jamaican, or Asian? Did y'all hear that shit? Wait a minute. Let me take it back.
Senator Harris, now making history, the first black woman, the first Asian American on a presidential ticket for a major party. We asked her about the attacks, the words President Trump repeatedly uses to describe her. President Trump has referred to you as nasty, a sort of madwoman, a disaster, the meanest, most horrible, most disrespectful of anybody in the U.S. Senate. How do you define what you hear from the president?
Listen, I think that there
They
is
don't
so
even
much
know what the
about what
fuck
comes
her
out of
race
Donald
is.
Trump's mouth that is designed to distract the American people from what he is doing every day, that is about neglect, negligence, and harm to the American people.
And incompetence.
Absolutely.
You got your butt.
Idea.
You got your motherfucking nerve to be calling somebody incompetent. You know what? I'm telling y'all, I ain't on nobody's side as of yet, but these people funny as fuck. He called that motherfucker incompetent. This nigga at one point didn't know if he was running for senator or president. I wish I had the clips. I wish I could do the shit right now to bring the words back, but don't worry about it. As time goes on, I'm gonna have some shit for y'all. Here we go.
He would say something like that. No president No president has ever said anything like that. No president has ever used those words. And no president has said people coming out of fields with torches and spewing anti-Semitic bile and met by people who oppose them, and someone dies and he says they're good people on both sides. No president of the United States has ever said anything like that. Ever.
His ass did, but he ain't the president. He wasn't saying that shit when he was shaking the hand of the KKK leader. But I'll leave that for another day. Holla at me.